You ever look around your neighborhood and wonder, when did all these houses pop up? Well, if you're in Utah, Texas, or Florida, the answer probably is in the last 10 minutes. Over the past decade, certain US states have been building homes like there's a prize at the end. Spoiler alert, it's mostly red states. I watched a video by the channel City Nerd on this subject, and it got me doing some research on the 10 states building the most homes and why. In his video, he really focused on Oregon and the Portland area. I got into all the states and found the top 10 states from 2014 to 2024. So over the last decade, who built the most homes? States like Idaho and South Carolina are bulldozing cow pastures and turning them into 300-home subdivisions with names like Whispering Pines at Freedom Creek. And they're not slowing down either, while builders in Oregon and California are waiting 6 months to get a survey done on how the buildings will affect the mating habits of the California tortoise-shell butterfly. It's a mess. Stay to the end and I'll explain why the red states are building more homes in detail. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, North Carolina. North Carolina has been hammering away at its housing shortage with a construction boom that seems to be powered by money and a contractor army that never sleeps. Over the last decade, the Tar Heel state has built up its housing stock by more than 13%, thanks in large part to the explosion of growth around cities like Raleigh, Durham, and Charlotte. Charlotte has become the poster child for urban sprawl done at warp speed. With its tech jobs, financial institutions, and overpriced coffee shops, the Queen City has lured newcomers by the tens of thousands. Builders have responded with suburban development sprouting faster than something I did 12 years ago when my wife's in a bad mood. South Charlotte and areas around Concord and Huntsville have seen subdivisions multiply like rabbits with a Home Depot credit line. Meanwhile, the Triangle region, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, has gone from sleepy college town to full-blown economic engine. Housing developments are creeping outward into Johnston, Wake, and Durham counties to meet the demand. Even smaller towns like Apex have gone from wait, where? To wow, that place is expensive. North Charlotte might not top the list, but it's swinging a pretty hard hammer when it comes to new home builds. This in part is why, compared to other very popular cities, their real estate isn't that bad in North Carolina. The percentage change in housing units is 13.3% since 2014. Number 9, Nevada. Nevada's been building so much in the past decade, you'd think that they were constructing a second Las Vegas. Actually, they kind of are. With over 13% increase in housing units, this desert state is proving you don't need trees or water to attract new residents. Just a decent shot at affordable housing and some air conditioning. I'm sure the fact that there's always something to do plays a part in it also. Las Vegas, unsurprisingly, leads the state. The city has become a magnet for California's fleeing astronomical prices, taxes, and the general burning money feeling in the Golden State. Areas like Henderson, Summerlin, and North Las Vegas have all seen housing developments pop up like slot machines at an airport. Yes, that's a thing. If you haven't been to Vegas in a while, or Reno, there are slot machines all over the airport. Last time, I won like $500 while I was waiting for my plane. But the result? Endless neighborhoods named things like Sage Creek Villas or Desert Breeze Estates, each one trying to out-suburb the last. Even Reno is getting into the action. With Tesla and other tech companies investing heavily in the area, Northern Nevada has started to look more like mini Silicon Valley. Now, they're in the infancy of this because I was there 5-6 months ago, and that downtown looked like a freaking ghost town, which tells me the real estate's going to be pretty cheap, and it sort of is. And now that they're building a whole bunch more homes up there, it's going to get even cheaper. The influx of workers have driven up demand for homes, and developers have responded in full force. For a state that once prided itself on empty highways and ghost towns, Nevada's newfound suburban sprawl is a major pivot. The percentage change in housing units over the last 10 years, 13.6%. Number 8, Delaware. Tiny but mighty, Delaware has quietly snuck into the top 10 with over 14% boost in their housing over the last decade. While it doesn't get the same attention as Texas and Florida, the first state has become a sleeper hit among retirees, tax refugees, and people who want to live near the coast without paying New Jersey prices. Southern Delaware, especially around Sussex County, has been ground zero for the boom. Towns like Lewis, Rehoboth Beach, and Millsboro have seen massive development as baby boomers flood in looking for a peaceful beachfront retirement without any state income tax. The builders must be thrilled. Land is cheaper than up north, and every new community practically sells itself without phrases like coastal charm and pickleball ready. Meanwhile, in northern Delaware, Middletown, and Newark, have experienced a mini explosion of suburban growth, driven by spillover from Philadelphia and New Jersey. The state may be small in square mileage, but it's punching way above its weight class when it comes to putting up new homes. The percentage of change in housing units over the last 10 years, 14.4%. Number 7, Washington State. Washington State has been booming with new construction, and no, it's not just to house more flannel-wearing coffee junkies or the homeless. With an almost 15% jump in housing units over the last 10 years, the Evergreen State has seen massive growth, especially in and around Seattle, where tech wealth rains down like actual weather. Seattle itself has tried to build vertically just to keep up with high-rise condos and apartment complexes trying to accommodate Amazon workers, Microsoft engineers, and anyone else who can afford to drop $3,000 a month on a cozy one-bedroom. Outside the city, suburbs like Bellevue, Redmond, and Bothell have exploded. I keep trying to call it Brothel, Washington, but it's Bothell, Washington. Those are often outpacing Seattle proper with new housing permits. Further south, places like Tacoma and Olympia have become safety valves for people priced out of Seattle. These cities have ramped up their residential construction big time, offering slightly more affordable options, emphasis on slightly, and over in Spokane, on the eastern side of the state, the real estate market has been heating up like a McDonald's coffee circa 2001. Washington's housing growth isn't just about quantity. It's a frantic attempt to prevent an all-out affordability crisis. The percentage of change in housing units over the last decade, 14.8%. So one day I'm minding my own business and I start getting bombarded with robocalls. I thought, this was strange, until I realized that some data broker had my information and was selling it like a sidewalk hot dog vendor. What most people don't understand is all your information is out there. Google your name and buckle up. Seriously, it's kind of scary how much you could find out about someone just by Googling them. And yeah, that includes all your sensitive information. I'm always trying to keep myself and my family's privacy safe. And let me tell you, it can be a full-time job. You have to search through sketchy sites, contact people to get your information removed. That's why I'm actually pumped about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an identity protection service that does all that internet digging for you. They find where your info has been leaked and then they delete it. Plus, they monitor your credit, keep tabs on data breaches, and even alert you if your phone number is being passed around to robocallers. Speaking of robocalls, I used to get so many of those spam calls every single day. Ever since I started using Aura, they practically disappeared. I also get emails from them that say things like, hey, someone just searched your social security number. And then they ask, do you want us to handle it for you? Yeah. I've tried a whole bunch of different identity protection services before, but they were all scattered across different apps and websites. Aura keeps it simple, everything in one place. You could manage how they track it, how they inform you, and what information you want locked down. Aura is worth checking out. They're giving my viewers a 2-week free trial. Just go to aura.com/Briggs, put in your info, and see what comes up. Bottom line, you got nothing to lose. Just click on the link and take back some of your digital life. Back to the video. Number 6, South Carolina. South Carolina has quietly built its way into housing expansion glory, putting up homes faster than Waffle House opens after a hurricane. With over 15% increase in housing units, the Palmetto State has turned cities like Charleston, Greenville, and Myrtle Beach into non-stop construction zones. Charleston, with its coastal beauty and historic charm, has attracted retirees, families, and digital nomads who romanticize old buildings until they realize the plumbing is from 1885. That's where new construction comes in. Suburbs like Mount Pleasant and Somerville are booming with master plan communities that come with HOA rules longer than a CVS receipt. What is the deal with those receipts? Same thing at the movies. Go to the movies. They give you your tickets through a machine and it prints out like 3 times as much paper as your tickets actually were. Back to the video. Inland, Greenville has gone from where's that to one of the South's hottest housing markets. Developers have taken notice, building homes across the upstate region to meet demand. Even Myrtle Beach, which once specialized in beach condos and sleazy tourist traps, is now filled with newly built subdivisions luring remote workers and folks chasing sunshine on a budget. The percentage change in housing units of South Carolina over the past decade, 15.4%. Number 5, Florida. Florida has been constructing homes like it's in a race against rising sea levels. With over a 15% increase in housing units over the past decade, the Sunshine State hasn't just welcomed new residents, it's been frantically stacking them into stucco-covered subdivisions from the Panhandle to the Keys. Orlando and Tampa have led the charge, transforming once rural land into sprawling suburbs that look like they were copy and paste from a retirement brochure. In Orlando, it's not just tourists clogging up the I-4 anymore. Entire neighborhoods like Lake Nora and Winter Garden have exploded with new builds. And no, the homes don't come with a free Disney ticket, but they do come with HOAs that tell you where you can and can't put garden gnomes. In case you can't tell, I'm just done with all the stories of HOAs. I don't know why they're still a thing. Anyway, South Florida hasn't slacked either. Miami-Dade and Broward County are seeing dense vertical housing take over because when you run out of land, you build up. Meanwhile, areas like Cape Coral and Port Lucie are absolutely booming with single-family construction, thanks to remote workers and retirees who want some sunshine, a pool, and no state income tax. That is a big driver for most retirees these days. Do you tax my retirement? And if I get a part-time job, are you going to gouge me there? Florida's unofficial model is come for the weather, stay because your house is still under construction. The percentage change in housing units of Florida over the last decade, 15.5%. I should probably tell you, the only state that actually lost homes over the last decade, West Virginia, they're actually down 0.1%, meaning they've torn down more houses than they've built. Number 4, Colorado. Colorado used to be the land of quiet ski towns, national parks, and wide open spaces. Then came hippies, John Denver, and the legalization of a plant, followed by a tech boom and about 1 million new residents. With over 17% growth in housing units over the last decade, Colorado is building like there's no tomorrow. And if you've seen Denver traffic lately, you'd assume tomorrow already arrived and brought all its friends. Denver leads the pack, of course, with cranes dotting the skyline like permanent fixtures. Neighborhoods like River North Art District, or Rhino, and Central Park have seen massive infill and new development. But even suburbs like Thornton and Castle Rock are building homes faster than my daughter changed best friends in middle school. Boulder's still pricey and hardcore about its open spaces, so the real action has shifted toward Colorado Springs and Fort Collins. These cities are attracting a blend of military families, remote workers, and Californians who think 4% humidity is moist. And while the Rockies might limit horizontal sprawl, but that hasn't stopped Colorado from packing in the houses wherever it's legal. The percentage change in housing units in Colorado over the last decade has been 17.4%. Number 3, Idaho. Idaho used to be one of those states people forgot existed until everyone remembered they could work from home and needed somewhere affordable and scenic. Enter Boise, the city that basically put the state's housing market on its back and sprinted uphill. With over 20% rise in housing units, Idaho is now the surprise real estate champion of the Mountain West. Boise's seen such explosive growth that the locals now use Californian as a curse word. Entire swaths of farmland have been bulldozed into subdivisions with names like The Meadows at Butt Creek. What's wild is this isn't just a Boise area phenomenon. Towns like Twin Falls and Coeur d'Alene are getting their fair share of the development pie as well. Idaho has all the things people want: space, nature, safety, and for now, it's still cheaper than most of its neighbors. The question is whether the gem state can keep up its charm as it turns into a construction site with mountains. The percentage change in housing units over the last decade in Idaho has been 20.6%. Number 2, Texas. Everything is bigger in Texas, including the home building stats. With almost 21% increase in housing units over the last decade means the Lone Star State isn't just growing, it's practically cloning cities at this point. Texas doesn't build slowly or quietly. It bulldozes, paves, and pops up master plan communities before lunch. Dallas-Fort Worth has been a construction juggernaut. With endless land and even more endless streams of people moving in, cities like Frisco, McKinney, and Arlington have been turning prairies into subdivisions at a truly Texas-sized pace. Houston isn't far behind, building outwards into Katy, the Woodlands, and Sugarland, like it's trying to colonize all of southeast Texas. And then there's Austin, where the motto "Keep Austin Weird" has been replaced with "Keep Austin Affordable." The suburbs are building fast to meet the tech-driven demand. Even San Antonio and El Paso are getting into the action. Texas is basically its own country of housing construction, and it's showing no sign of slowing down. The percentage change in housing units over the last decade is 20.9%. All right, before we get to number 1, if you're into learning how to do YouTube or anything else I decide to talk about, there's another channel I have called Doing It with Briggs. There's a link for that down below. We'd love it if you went over, checked it out, maybe subscribe. All right, on to number 1. And number 1. Utah. Utah takes the top spot with a jaw-dropping number that is over 25%. That's right, 1 out of every 4 homes in Utah didn't exist before 2014. It's not just construction, it's an architectural revolution happening in real time, and leading the charge, Salt Lake City of course, and its ever-expanding neighborhoods. The Wasatch Front has turned into a giant bulldozing zone. Lehigh, Draper, Herman, and Sarasota Springs have become hotbeds for new construction, mostly because Salt Lake proper is running out of room. Utah County has been extremely aggressive, cracking out housing developments for young families, tech workers, and just about anyone else who doesn't mind mountain views with their mortgage. Silicon Slopes is now Utah's tech corridor, and it's driven much of the demand. Even smaller cities like St. George in the southern part of the state are booming as well. And that's thanks to retirees chasing safety and the sun. Utah may be known for its temples and Mormons, but lately it's been worshiping the almighty backhoe. Utah's percentage change in housing units over the last decade, 25.1%. Like I said, over a quarter of the homes in Utah were not there before 2014. All right. So here's the final explanation. If you've been paying attention to the list, you probably noticed a trend. This wasn't exactly a love letter to the coastal liberal utopias, with the exception of Washington and maybe Colorado, depending on which county you're in when it comes to either of those states. This list is dominated by red or reddish-purple states. And no, that's not a coincidence. It's economics, politics, and a little bit of land use free-for-all. First off, red states just have more land and fewer restrictions. Places like Texas, Utah, and Idaho aren't bound by the same zoning red tape that you'll find in places like California, New York, and Oregon. If you own a cow pasture in Texas, you could probably turn it into a 300-home subdivision faster than you can get a building permit approved in San Francisco. And honestly, that's not an exaggeration. Some blue states are really good at saying no to development. It's this weird thing. This whole thing started, and the main focus of City Nerd's video was about Portland, and we have an urban boundary. I live right at the urban boundary, meaning you really can't build any subdivisions west of my house for miles and miles, and you get into the mountains and you can't really build any subdivisions up there. Or not really mountains, we call it the coastal range. Second thing is red states tend to have lower taxes and fewer regulations all the way around, which makes it cheaper for builders to operate. Fewer hoops to jump through means less time and money wasted trying to navigate building codes written in ancient riddles. In other words, if you're a developer, you'd rather be in Florida where you can actually get something built before you retire. The third thing is demand is shifting away from the expensive blue cities, which they were very popular and people wanted to move there. That's how they get expensive. If we're around in 50 years, the cities on this list will probably now be the more expensive ones and people will be heading back to California. It's a pendulum, everyone. But as people flee New York, Illinois, Massachusetts in search of affordable homes, lower taxes, and fewer urban inconveniences, the red states are the ones catching that population wave. And guess what? More people equals more need for housing, and these states are racing to meet that demand, sometimes whether the locals like it or not. So yeah, the red states are building more because they can, they need to, and they're not afraid to bulldoze a cornfield if it means squeezing in another cul-de-sac. All right, everyone, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.